Hey guys, it's Games here again. This movie was Naruto's serious about being a shinobi. Now that's what it is. Basically, the one thing I'm going to focus on is more or less that one thing I'd say is that Naruto's more focused on being a Hokage other than realizing he had to be a shinobi and a powerful one at that to be Hokage. Like, he didn't really care about shinobi life. He just thought he needed to be cool, so to say. That's really all. He didn't care about being an actual shinobi, which would put him behind. So, yeah. But, wait, I have to pause real quick, sorry. So, basically, in this one, Naruto would realize that to be Hokage, he needs to be powerful, because, well, from what he knows, he was just a random old man that's smart. So Naruto wanted to figure out why he was so strong, wants to ask him directly, but the guards push him away. So eventually he just gets a little upset and goes to Teuchi. At this point, I put Naruto at around 6 years old, maybe 7. So, I'll say 7. So, he's just talking to Teuchi about his plan. Teuchi say, "Oh, well, the library doesn't really shoo anyone away as long as you can pay the book fee." Naruto say, "Oh, reading, that's so boring." Teuchi say, "Naruto, you're in the academy. Being in school is more boring than reading one book." No, Naruto didn't nod saying, "Fair enough. But I don't got money." At this point, Naruto isn't eating ramen. He's just sitting there with Teuchi and Ayame just talking. Teuchi would immediately pull out some money, give it to Naruto, saying, "Alright, then here. Now, I'll make a condition for you. Whenever you want to learn something and you can't pay for it, come to me. But yeah, we have to work off the money." Naruto would nod, smiling, and run off, going right into the library, paying the fee for a few books. Reading up on the Hokage, and just about how powerful he is, and how he was trained by the second Hokage, and was even in his Anbu squad. Then he heard that the Hiruzen was just the Hokage for so long, and he was so powerful that even the village wanted him to come back to being the Hokage once the fourth had died, because he was simply just that powerful and that reliable. Naruto realized that, well, it's not because Hiruzen's smart, he's a kind, caring, and strong person. He's reliable in all situations. He's never really went wrong anywhere in Naruto's eyes. He went wrong with a lot of fans, but yeah. Naruto realized that if he wants to be Hokage, people have to actually start trusting him, because no one trusts him right now. No one cares about his existence, not one bit. So Naruto decides to do something that would make everyone care about him, or at least will show that he cares about them and make them trust him. What he does is more or less do unintentional D-rank missions. Like, if there's crops, he actually pulls out all the crops all day, and even works without pay. It's actually would encourage a lot more Genin teams to actually begin doing C-rank missions, which actually does improve the power of some Genin. So due to Naruto actually doing some D-ranks and actually taking away the needed pay for these D-rank missions, well, Genin gets to go on high-rank missions and they get a lot stronger. Houston is more or less shocked that Naruto's doing all this for free. One day, Naruto had finished pulling roots from a giant field that spanned a long time. It took Naruto almost 9 hours to pull out every single root. Not root, I guess every single part that wouldn't be needed. There's some question about why Naruto's doing this, and Naruto tells Houston about his plan to become Hokage, and how he realized that, well, no one trusts him, no one likes him, no one cares about him. He needs to improve that. So he's working on the trust of the village right now. He doesn't really just respect that a lot, and she smile and rub Naruto's head. Immediately, Hiruzen would realize that Naruto can't really pay for books unless if he steals them. But Naruto explains that no, he's just he works off the money that Teuchi would give him from Ichiraku. Hiruzen would just smile and actually pour tons of money into Ichiraku ramen, so Teuchi can pay Naruto even more. So yeah, that would just go to when Naruto's around 10 years old. The time Naruto's around 10 years old. Well, due to him always constantly working and running around, and even being able to buy books on Taijutsu and Genjutsu, well, I'd put him around Sasuke's level. I don't mean like current 10-year-old Sasuke, no, I mean like probably like Land Wave Sasuke level. So he's still pretty powerful. I'd say probably elite Genin, maybe low Chunin in power. But Naruto nonetheless would proceed to work on his kunai shuriken and ninjutsu, as the village already trusts and relies on him. They can quite literally just knock on his door at some random time in the day and say, "Hey, can you help me with this?" He'll rush out and help you immediately. He even got a few books on chakra with help of Hiruzen, and Hiruzen was able to teach Naruto how to do basic chakra control. So yeah, She does boost up Naruto's intelligence to beyond average, and his power, well, he will currently, well, long story short, it'd be hard to outmatch Naruto in power. Takes at least Sasuke's skill, Choji's brute strength, and Shikamaru's intelligence to even push Naruto back a bit. Because Naruto usually can stay in one spot and may handle every single person that comes across him. So, yeah. We go to when they're all 12 years old and they graduate. Everyone would watch Naruto do it fair and square. And Mitsuki still tries to trick Naruto, but Naruto's not dumb to think the scroll ceiling can be easily taken. Mitsuki does for doing trying to trick Naruto. Well, he's kind of doing this, and Naruto begins yelling at him and berating him. But Yurika had heard Naruto yelling and even Mitsuki's name come out of his mouth. When he got close enough, what he heard was I can't believe you're trying to trick me. You're trying to trick me and stealing scroll ceiling. Immediately Mitsuki will grab Naruto by the neck and begin pushing him against the wall, saying, "How dare you, brat! You can't say that out loud." But suddenly, Yurika would throw two kunai right in Mitsuki's arm before Mitsuki even realizes who did it. Suddenly, kunai stabbed right to his jacket and into his chest. He falls over, clutching his chest, and begins coughing up blood. Naruto would land, pulling the kunai out of his chest. Then Mitsuki realized that there's never a kunai in his chest. But there's kunai in his arm. But Naruto had a hand seal weaved, and Mitsuki was under a Genjutsu. Mitsuki could have sworn the pain in his chest was real. Naruto would just say it's a mixture of bloodlust and, well, a B-rank Genjutsu. Immediately, Mitsuki swiftly punched right in the face and knocked out by Naruto. Naruto can physically overwhelm Mitsuki pretty easily, but he was caught off guard. That's really it. Now, I'm going to give you Naruto's stats. Genjutsu, he barely scrapes a B-, but he's okay with it, I guess. For Taijutsu, he's around B rank as well. For Ninjutsu, well, he can only do basic academy jutsu, so he's around like low C rank, maybe high D rank. And then for for Kenjutsu, something he tries to work on a lot because no one in his class seems to be able to do that. He's around like high B rank, so pretty impressive. Then for Kunai Shuriken, he's the highest in his class at S rank for Kunai Shuriken, and he's able to do Kunai's clone jutsu. But Naruto, I just kind of want to put him on Team Kakashi, so yeah, he's put on Team Kakashi. Now, Naruto's on Team Kakashi. He still wears a bright orange outfit, but he's also a little bit bigger and a bit taller. Has like some decent muscle mass on him, and actually looks healthy. He's even a bit taller than Sasuke at around 5'3". So yeah, he's 12 and that's kind of big for a 12-year-old. But still, he's big. So now Naruto would more or less be given some D-rank missions, and well, they get a lot more D-rank missions when a lot of villagers hear that Naruto became a shinobi. So when they hear this, a lot more D-ranks came flooding in, and Team 7 does a lot of them in one day. But Naruto does them effortlessly. So yeah. When he comes like a smart farmer, he knows how the field should be done, and the fastest way to do it. Now, the people being able to help him, they're able to take this hour-long task or a few hour-long task and reduce it to at least 1 hour at the highest, which is pretty impressive. So they can get at most 5 D ranks done in one day, which Naruto actually has experience doing with some of these, so he knows the fastest way to do it. So they do a lot of D ranks in one day, which actually does result in a lot of money and not as much stress as you'd think. So yeah. Usually they do, like, Kakashi does, like, think that they can work together as a team pretty well. Well, if you guys want to know one with, like, the whole bell test, I didn't go over it. Well, kind of would have gone the same way. It's just Naruto doesn't use clones. He's simply just fast enough to create after images. That's about it. So there's not much difference. It's just, there's no shadow clones involved. It's just Naruto being simply fast enough to rush at Kakashi and just do all these moves. So yeah, there's really no difference. Or barely any noticeable difference. So now we move on to more or less, like, I guess, just 1 month into them being a shinobi. Kakashi realized that his team could use some training, because, well, they're not bad, it's just they have nothing else to do, and just want to send them home early. So he just realized that Naruto's plenty strong, and, well, his team can't really work together as a group. So Naruto more or less would begin training with Sasuke as a group, as they're the two strongest ones, and Sakura would learn how to provide support. Quickly, Naruto was able to catch on, while Sasuke and Sakura are still lacking. So eventually with this, Kakashi would more or less begin playing decoy, because Kakashi would realize that Sasuke does not like Naruto at all. So he's able to go over formation with Sasuke, because Sasuke actually would work better with someone he likes, or at least someone he doesn't hate. So with Naruto actually not being able to do anything currently, well, Naruto will be in training with Team Inoshika-cho, or Team Asuma, due to the fact that, well, what's the main reason, probably? Probably just the fact that he's trying to Shikamaru and Choji, and he's nothing better to do. And, well, with Asuma, well, he's actually able to prove that Naruto able to prove that he knows how to work as a team, and actually able to improve the teamwork of Inoshika-cho, because they cannot take him down individually. This actually improves the strength of their team, and this would reveal that, well, Team 7 can't work together as a group, it's just Sasuke doesn't like Naruto. But Kakashi would transform into Naruto and make Sasuke learn how to use every single technique. Even Kakashi would tell Naruto about the rundown of the technique and how it works. It's like a combo attack. And Naruto understands, so he's like, oh, cool. But at this point, Naruto's like on a level of like curse mark force death Sasuke. So, that should tell you how strong he is, just sheer power. But yeah. So Naruto more or less would proceed to, well, first off, he was able to more or less resist attacks that go toward his mind due to Ino using Mind Transfer Jutsu on him so much. So him being able to resist that, well, Genjutsu is actually able to something he can shrug off pretty easily. So his Genjutsu type is still B rank, but then again, if it comes to resisting it or overwhelming it, he's around S rank. And well, also teaches him how to water walk, and Kakashi teaches him how to use chakra control as a basic. Like, they don't really train together, but they do missions together, which actually does improve their teamwork somewhat. Like, something a dangerous animal is shooting a dangerous animal away, and boom, that's how they use teamwork tactics. So yeah, they still get like some kind of training in, but not a lot. Choji, Naruto actually able to help Choji with hand seals, and do them a lot faster. All it takes is Choji being bribed with food, and training constantly. So Naruto more or less will train with Shikamaru, Choji, and Ino. The point where Ino actually somewhat likes Naruto. Not like that. She thinks he's a nice guy. That's really it. But a lot of the village thinks that Naruto's a nice guy. So, yeah, he's proven that he's a nice guy. But then we'd go over to more or less like Kakashi and Sasuke and Sakura. Well, they realize that the village likes Naruto a lot, because whenever Naruto's not with them on D ranks, he's usually just training with Team 10. But a lot of people seem sad that Naruto isn't around them, which shocks Kakashi. Because a few years ago, he was sworn that everyone hated him, and now a lot of people love him. Usually, this question hears about this, because it's kind of suspicious that all these people love Naruto. Usually would reveal the conversation he had with Naruto a while ago. Sakura and Sasuke happen to overhear this. Naruto's dream is become Hokage. And to do this, he actually wanted to gain the trust of everyone in the village, and their respect, and to prove that he's reliable. Despite him being a kid, he's proved that he's more than reliable enough to help the whole town, the whole village. Kakashi can't help but smile, saying that Naruto is too much like his father. Immediately, Sasuke would burst in saying, "Then who's his father?" Kakashi covered his mouth saying, "No one. Now get out." Sasuke would say, "No, he's not leaving until he hears about Naruto's father." Someone as strong as Kakashi can remark that Naruto's father was great. Who was it? He's would chuckle, saying, "Sasuke, I'm not going to tell you outright, but I'm telling you right now. Naruto's father may be one of the only shinobi who could have matched my power. Maybe beat me, and beat every single Hokage in existence. Well, maybe not the first." Now, when they hear this, they're stunned. It's just showing me that was that powerful, and that's Naruto's father. Maybe Sasuke think about Mamoru Uchiha just went through history, but Naruto doesn't show any signs of being an Uchiha, and well, doesn't act like an Uchiha. So what could he be? Sasuke and Sakura look for the rest of the month until Team 7 is tasked with Land Away's mission. Now together they've done a few C rank missions, not that many, but a few, like around 2 or 3. But Sasuke didn't want us to get given a C rank mission because Tazuna would hear that, like, just being like hearing Team 7 talk about how they've done tons of C ranks. Like, oh yeah, like you remember that other C rank we did? This is just Sakura and Sasuke bragging because they got somewhat close as friends. And Naruto was yawning, saying, "That's nothing compared to this mission." Tazuna, hearing that this team has done a few strong missions, actually requests that they are on his team to escort him. And so Naruto seems kind of big, Kakashi seems kind of intimidating, and Sasuke and Sakura seem somewhat strong. But Sasuke is an Uchiha, so he should be strong as well. Pink-haired one, he's not sure about. Just Naruto and Kakashi seal the deal, and Sasuke being an Uchiha seals it even more. Like Naruto and Kakashi tape the box up, and Sasuke is like bubble wrap inside it with peanuts and stuff, and Sakura is just like that one little sharp object that could tear it all down. He doesn't know about it. But eventually with this, Houston just like, sure, why not? With this leads to Naruto and Team 7 going on the mission. Not the Demon Brothers. Well, Naruto doesn't see the puddle. Well, he does, but he sees the Demon Brothers' reflection inside it and points it out as he whispers to Kakashi, saying he can see the brothers in the puddle. Kakashi immediately realizes that this is not high-ranking Genjutsu, but for Naruto to see through it immediately, this proves that he may as well be immune to Genjutsu. But before the Demon Brothers can even jump out, Naruto appear behind them as they immediately leave the puddle like halfway through. But then they'll realize that there's 2 kunai right in their spines. Well, not kunai, but senbon. Multiple of them. There's a few in their spine, and the rest of them were in their pressure points. Spine was just to more or less make sure that they can't move for a while. Naruto would end up putting kunai to one of the brothers' necks, as then Kakashi would interrogate the other one. And when they get all the information they need, Naruto just hits the guy in the face with his basically punches the guy in the face full force, knocking him out. Sasuke can't help but see that Naruto's physically overwhelming as well. Not much other abilities, just he's a powerhouse. Well, not in ninjutsu and everything else, he's a damn beast. But with this, we move on to Zabuza. Zabuza, well, when the blade is being swung at them, Naruto immediately just puts his blade out in front of him and throws chakra right through it. As the blade's able to push back a lot of the power, the blade seems to grow in size. Naruto's blade does. As he was pushing it back, Kakashi realized that that's not Naruto's usual sword. The abilities of it seem familiar. Thinking he realizes that sword's made of the same materials, also as chakra blades. Naruto got a new sword made from the ninja monks, and it happened to be it fit his chakra nature. Because if he could channel chakra through a piece of metal for them, they can determine his chakra affinity, and they're able to basically make a wind blade for him. So immediately with this, what Naruto does is just slash down even more on Zabuza's blade, and with his blade seeming to increase it in just width and length. Well, the blade's cut clean in half, Zabuza's is. Not the blast, but the slash would just basically split the mist in half. But Naruto seems panting and sweating, as that was a lot of power to hold back himself. Physically, he's not too bad, but still, that was hard to do. Pause real quick. So Naruto basically exhausted a lot of stamina trying to push back Zabuza's blade, and a bit of chakra trying to just slash it in half. Zabuza was just in sheer shock that the mist was cut in half, and his blade is cut in half. Immediately, he would go to Pagoda, basically slamming kunai down on Naruto, but quickly it's blocked by Kakashi. Kakashi would thank Naruto for saving his team, and rushing into danger didn't have to. Plus, he disabled the enemy's weapon. And as long as Kakashi doesn't bleed a lot, then the blade cannot be repaired. Zabuza mentioned that, Kakashi and Naruto may be hard to make bleed, but the old man and the 2 kids, probably not. But one thing that changed in this one, they have a lot more training. Team 7 has a lot more time to train, because, they always do D ranks that are pretty easy because of Naruto. So immediately when Zabuza rushes towards them, Sasuke trying to activate, immediately Zabuza's hand is sliced pretty badly, leaving blood pouring everywhere, and it was Zabuza's dominant hand. When he sent Mono throwing it right at Sasuke, he's able to block one of them, when suddenly one of them is grabbed. Before Haku can close enough, Sakura had grabbed the tenbone, stabbing it right through Haku's mask and in Haku's forehead, pushing Haku back a bit, putting it right in his forehead. Sakura had increased in reflexes a bit due to, them training a lot. She was taught to be proper shinobi, and plus Sasuke's her friend now. They're quite literally just friends. So yeah. Now Haku and Zabuza being to try to attack just Team 7 in general. When Naruto and Kakashi look at each other, and Kakashi and Naruto being moving hands, it was in sync. And this was a team effort that they had both made together. As Genjutsu combined is around S rank. It took up a lot of most of Naruto's chakra that he had left, and took up a bit of Kakashi's. The use of this immediately Zabuza and Haku replaced it under Genjutsu, makes them experience their worst fears, and nightmares come to life in front of them. With Zabuza and Haku being screaming in fear and panic as they begin sweating and panting, the point where they pass out. Now this they're tied up, and again the Genjutsu is broken. Naruto, despite being basically almost out of chakra and tired, he's able to lift up Haku like it's nothing. He says shock Kakashi, he almost lifts up Zabuza the same way. It's just Zabuza's too big for him. Not that way. So Sakura and Sasuke basically team up to carry Zabuza, and they make his land waves when Zabuza and Haku wake up in fear. They realize that Naruto's kind of just in a bed, and so is Kakashi. Kakashi, due to just that Genjutsu alone, This is the equivalent of wasting as much chakra as he did when he fought Zabuza in canon. Zabuza is more or less watching his Kakashi and Naruto both unconscious in bed. But Naruto, with the knives, was able to recover a lot quicker. So that night, Zabuza and Haku try to escape, but they realize that Naruto's up and training. They've been training the swordsmanship. Zabuza realized that Naruto's very dedicated to it. Before they escape, Zabuza actually want to question why Naruto tries so hard just to be strong. He just seems like some random knucklehead behind this very sophisticated kind of team. Before Naruto would rush with them, he would explain that he's the strongest on the team. It's just he doesn't want to lag behind because so far he's the dumbest, and that could be a burden on his team. And plus, he can prove that he's reliable, he can prove that he's Hokage worthy. So Naruto's dream is more or less not being Hokage, it's proving that he's worthy of this title. He's worthy of it, not he's worthy to be it. Like, oh yeah, sure, I can be considered it. Not that I will most definitely be one. He's smart enough to know that there's many other shinobi that alive in his village that could take the title of Hokage from him, such as like maybe legendary Sani, maybe Kakashi, maybe some random Anbu. So yeah, it could just be anyone that he knows of, and Naruto does know this. So he's not serious about being Hokage, more serious that he's more serious about proving he's worthy of the title. So I'm going to say that. That was I can't help but admire Naruto's drive. Then Naruto dashes Zabuza and Haku. Before Haku can even react to Naruto's sheer speed that had increased exponentially just with chakra alone, Haku's chest is slashed, not being killed, but Haku just falls over unconscious with just the amount of blood spraying out all at once. Zabuza would use one half of his executioner's blade to block the other strike. Suddenly, Naruto grabbed the other half where the hole is, putting his hand through it, and immediately slammed the not the blunt side, I guess, but more like the shattered end of the blade into the other shattered half, and make a deep cut, or deep crack, and repeatedly doing this, using a sword, and then the other half of the blade as like a brass knuckle, so to say. Pause. So Naruto basically using one brass knuckle and one sword. Eventually, when Zabuza would try to block another strike, executioner's blade is fully broken by the quote-unquote brass knuckle. Then he stabbed right through the stomach, falling to his knees, and passing out. Naruto didn't land a fatal blow, but it's enough pain to be inflicted to make someone pass out. So with this, well, he ties up Zabuza and Haku, and brings him back inside. Zabuza and Haku were more or less pretty just mentally fatigued from the Genjutsu, so they're a lot easier to beat. Plus, Naruto had fully recovered, plus has a bit of natural chakra running through his body, so he can be fully restored at physical power and not just chakra. So he had a bit of an amp going on without him realizing it. Pause one more time. I'm gonna go get water. My throat's dry as fuck. So Kakashi would not reveal, but he's shocked to hear that Naruto beat Zabuza and Haku on his own as they were escaping. But Naruto does take in mind that they're both mentally fatigued and kind of physically hurt because they've had ropes tied around them for hours on end. So they're both not in their peak condition and they're pretty slow. So yeah, Zabuza and Haku are attended to by the village doctors, but still they're restrained. Eventually, Gatsu's men arrive, and Zabuza and Haku are about to make another escape effort. But before they escape, they realize Gatsu's men are there. Before they go to join his forces, they hear Gatsu reveal he never planned on helping them in the first place. Not helping, but paying them in the first place. He planned on letting them die or killing them in his own way. Before Gatsu can finish his sentence, well, suddenly Zabuza appeared right behind him with half the executioner's blade in hand, and the other half, well, in his other hand. Only the one half that has the hilt cuts off Gatsu's head. With that much blood, he's able to put the blade back together. So with this, the blade's put back together with one giant crack going down the middle. But it's not like it's a long crack, but not like a huge one that'll break the blade for sure. Zabuza proceeds to slash through guys against nothing, with pure rage fueling his body, and Haku being able to slash through a few of them himself. And yeah, now with this, Zabuza and Haku are kind of injured, but not seriously injured. Like, it's enough for them to patch it up themselves. With this, well, Zabuza, before they were tied up again, Zabuza had bowed down to Naruto, saying that Naruto was actually about to defend Zabuza and Haku's honor, just with words. I have to pause one more time. I'm sorry for pausing so much. So Zabuza did realize that Naruto was going to defend him and Haku's honor, and to thank him, he bowed down, saying he wishes to help Naruto accomplish his dream of becoming Hokage. Naruto immediately began smiling, and actually asks if Haku agrees. Haku says that he's willing to put all the blows he has for Zabuza into Naruto. Naruto ended up bowing, saying that he accepts this, and Zabuza also says that he'll teach Naruto how to use a sword. No, Kakashi would ask Zabuza how they know if he can trust him. Immediately Zabuza would hand over the blade, the executioner's blade, over to Naruto. Haku then says that he's willing to hand over the secrets of the ice release to Naruto. Kakashi shocked that two legendary things are being handed to Naruto right now, just so he can become Hokage for honoring these two people. So yeah. Now with this, they head right over to Hidden Leaf. Now, Ibiki was at the gates because they felt an unfamiliar chakra with Team 7. Later, Naruto has the Executioner's Blade, and later says Zabuza, Momochi, and Haku are injured. Even though Ibiki thinks that Team Kakashi betrayed them, Kakashi's like, no. They more or less became our allies in the mission. They're betrayed, and we defended them, and now they want to ally with the Hidden Leaf if they're willing to defend complete strangers. Ibiki would sigh back to Naruto. Naruto's helped out Ibiki himself before. Not a lot, but like once or twice. So Ibiki does know Naruto and says, yes, you helped out? Naruto not saying, yep. So with this, Ibiki brings him to Hokage's office, and he's going to help be shocked that Naruto will learn Ice Release, and now learn how to wield the Executioner's Blade, and learn how to be a proper swordsman from a legendary swordsman of the Mist. So yeah, I need to catch up on Death's game. The notification reminded me. But Naruto more or less just proceeds to be trained by Zabuza, and he actually gives his regular sword to Sasuke. And Sasuke will take the sword, learning how to use it, as Naruto basically just says that kind of respect to someone older than him. I'm pretty sure Sasuke canonically is older than Naruto by a few months. Let me check this real quick. So yeah, Sasuke is a bit older than Naruto, and Haku and Zabuza are obviously older, so Sakura. And I'm pretty sure Naruto's the youngest on his team, so yeah. But Naruto nonetheless, to give Sasuke a sword, just out of respect as a comrade, and due to Sasuke being Naruto's older teammate. So just multiple ways of respect. Even had Sasuke a scroll with just sword techniques in it, like basic sword abilities. So now with this, Naruto proceeds to learn how to use the Executioner's Blade and Ice Release. As quickly, Zabuza and Haku had to get Naruto acquainted with wind releases, and Naruto was already pretty acquainted with wind, so he just needed water. So he actually got acquainted with that pretty fast as well, even unlocking a bit of lightning release. So eventually with this, Naruto ended up being able to learn Ice Release around the time that Konohamaru would encounter Kankuro. But the time Kankuro being threatening Konohamaru, Naruto would snag Konohamaru right from Kankuro. Kankuro wasn't able to see who did it. So Naruto just appeared behind Kankuro with his blade drawn and pointed forward. Suddenly Kankuro's chest would have a slight slash appear on it. It stung a bit, but Kankuro was just shocked that someone slashed him that fast, and he didn't even just see where they came from. But Naruto nonetheless just had used the Executioner's Blade with the transformation jutsu to make it seem like a small blade. Naruto basically just told Kankuro to be grateful he held back with that attack. Suddenly, everyone watches the blade that Naruto had in his hand, puts him the Executioner's Blade. Naruto somehow holding it up with one arm. He was on his back, and with this, he escorts Konohamaru away. So now he would confront the Sand Trio. Kankuro sent puppets at Naruto, and these puppets are quickly dispatched by Naruto like they're nothing, with just a few senbone, covered in ice, that spreads out the puppets' limbs where they can move, and they're kind of unable to move now. And Naruto was able to send a bit of, icy chakra down Kankuro's chakra threads, which actually did freeze his fingertips a bit. And then we move on to Gaara. Gaara has tons of blood loss emitting from his body. Naruto learned that, Zabuza's Kekkei Genkai wasn't easy to learn, but he's able to do it nonetheless. I don't think Zabuza had a specific Kekkei Genkai belongs to him, but more or less an ability. I'm gonna check it out real quick. Okay, so the chakra thing wasn't a Kekkei Genkai, it's more or less just it's an ability. Just hints at the Demon of the Mist title belonging to the rightful person. So when Gaara began inflicting his bloodlust, thinking that may put Naruto under pressure, no, Naruto responds with the Demon Aura. And by the moment it comes out, Demon Aura being taking place of a fox, and, it scares Gaara and actually Shikaku shitless, as Gaara for the first time could hear Shikaku speak, saying, "Why is he here?" Shikaku knew he was suppressing his full power, not wanting to go near Kurama. He knew who it was. He's not gonna play with his older brother at all. Especially if the Jinchuriki seems to have power surpassing Gaara. It's currently Naruto. I put Naruto probably at around like the level that he is. Like, I think the One Tail's cloak in the Valley of the End canonically. Because I put that Naruto above like Curse Mark 2 Sasuke and Force of Death. So this Naruto base form is already on the level of speed, like with speed and strength and abilities, minus Rasengan and Shadow Clones of Valley of the End, KCM, not KCM, but Karma Chakra mode 1, not Karma Chakra mode. It just like on level 1 Tails Naruto, so to say. So he's just that fast, that strong, like he can overwhelm basically everyone if he chooses to. And Zabuza was able to teach Naruto, Haku's able to teach Naruto how to use two natures, and Zabuza taught Naruto how to perfectly use second nature. I found out he can use a lightning release, but it's really hard to access it, so they didn't really focus on that. He'll ask Kakashi when the time is right. Yeah, so during this time, the Naruto training Kakashi and Sasuke and Sakura were training as a group. Sakura and Sasuke they are proved to be an unstoppable duo. Sakura is actually able to use a bit of Genjutsu that's pretty high ranking, despite having low chakra levels. But due to her having such a good affinity for it, it's kind of unstoppable. So with this, we move on to them going through the entrance. Naruto when he goes through, Rock Lee sort of punch at Sasuke, but Sasuke would block the punch, and Rock Lee misfights Sasuke. Sasuke would chuckle, saying, "Why me?" And Rock Lee says, "You're the Rookie of the Year." Sasuke would say, "Well, if that idiot over there was a little bit smarter, he'd be the Rookie of the Generation." So at least he kind of hints at Naruto. Naruto is just yawning and writing down in a notepad. He kind of got that habit. Just if he saw something impressive, he'd write it down. So it's kind of what he learned from Haku. Well, he started doing that because of Haku. Haku didn't do it himself. He kind of thought Haku was an impressive man writing stuff down in a notepad. Rock Lee's shocked, and everyone else is shocked to hear that the Rookie of the Year, Sasuke, admitted that somebody stronger than him, but he's the only Rookie of the Year because that person stronger than him is dumb. Immediately, Rock Lee wants to fight Naruto, and Naruto had said, "Why not?" Rock Lee understands. Naruto is still yawning a bit and writing a notepad. Rock Lee is at start. Naruto dashed right at Rock Lee, grabbing him by the face, slamming him right into a wall. By the time Rock Lee realized what had happened, he was almost unconscious. He was slammed headfirst into a concrete wall at speed of sound. Rock Lee got up, rubbing his head as it was bleeding a bit. But Rock Lee kept dashing at Naruto, with Naruto blocking an attack or barely dodging it. Naruto and Rock Lee began fighting, Naruto moving a lot faster than Rock Lee was. But Rock Lee was obviously better with Taijutsu, and Naruto proved to be, insanely powerful in his own right. And so with this, Naruto called fights, saying that they're showing off too much to the other teams, which Rock Lee didn't realize he was doing. Rock Lee had bowed to Naruto, and Naruto had bowed back as they go into their respective exam rooms. Naruto being taking his exam, being able to realize that the point of it is cheating, but Naruto's barely able to get around three questions right. He does begin using sensory ability he had picked up from Zabuza and Haku, and just common knowledge of other sensory shinobi. He used chakra throughout the room, and being able to more or less feel of people. Now immediately he realized that one of the examinees is a puppet, and who doesn't know who used puppets? Kankuro. Naruto is gonna fuck up the exam for his whole team, just to distract people. What Naruto does is more or less send chakra to the right of that puppet, blowing it up, and everyone realizes that it's a puppet. It reveals a chakra thread, connecting straight to Kankuro. Now, immediately with this, Ibiki disqualifies Kankuro, which disqualifies the whole team. Kankuro would immediately be like, "Wait, who the hell did that? Who did it, huh? I'll kill you!" But Gaara is more pissed at Kankuro that he was caught that easily. Immediately, Gaara be trying to use Sand Coffin on Kankuro, but immediately Gaara is punched right in the face while forced being knocked unconscious. Shikaku will not take over. He's not going to mess with Kurama. Kurama already scared the hell out of him a week ago, so he's not going to try it. The Gaara's just knocked unconscious by Naruto, and Naruto picked up Kankuro, who's kind of just got scared and punched by Gaara, and Naruto had punched Gaara out like a light. So he hands those two over to Tamari. Ibiki will just take them both, saying, "No, we're never good talking to them." In the midst of the distraction, Naruto had basically winked at Sakura, as she was pretty close to him. So while everyone was distracted, she was able to more or less just be able to. Well, Naruto mainly would use a bit of Genjutsu to push over, use a bit of one chakra to push over his paper. Sakura picked it up, making it seem like she had dropped her paper. In reality, she was able to more or less crumple up her paper, throwing it back to Naruto as he caught it barely fast for anyone to see. Lily sat down and began unrolling his paper, and being able to more or less keep Sakura's paper. She began turning herself in, Naruto had walked up behind her, and they swapped papers very swiftly. This, he turned in his paper, or turned in his paper, quote unquote, and Sakura turned in her paper. Sasuke was able to turn in his paper with a decent amount of answers correct. He didn't want to cheat. Well, he did cheat, but didn't want help from his teammates. Next exam, will force to death. The force to death, well, Naruto nonetheless is just still going to get a kunai thrown at him, but he dodges it pretty easily. But yeah. So the scroll is the same thing. Naruto will still step off to use the bathroom, and more or less just encounter. Let me pause real quick. So Naruto nonetheless will proceed to I don't know. Where was I? Oh, yeah, so he still steps off to use the bathroom. Then when he's attacked, well, first off, he still does not remember the code at all. But he walks out of the forest, holding 3 guys by their collars, and the guys had obviously pissed themselves. They're covered in it. They smell like it. Sasuke asked what Naruto had done, and plus get those 20 guys away from them. He does just that, but just says that he scared the hell out of them. Plus, he holds up a scroll that wasn't what they need, but still it's a scroll nonetheless. They can bargain with another team. So, yeah. Now, with this, they do encounter some random miscellaneous team that happens to have the scroll they need, and they happen to have 2 heaven scrolls. So with this, they should hold out 1 scroll, the team's like, sure. Naruto had thrown it in the air, revealing it that was open, and he sent chakra through it. Immediately, Sensei would pop out of it, introducing the kids. So he realizes that the kids, they were confused. Then their scroll was snagged by Naruto, and this person was able to tell it was Naruto. So when they're shocked, like, that was a trick. Naruto dashed by, grabbing the scroll, and his team dashed off through the forest at insane speeds because he carried them both through the forest. He had saw Sensei pop out of the scroll. He's like, no, we need to run before you get in trouble. They do just that as they actually breeze right past Orochimaru, and Orochimaru didn't even realize it was them until he saw the a Ninetales cloak and sent Sasuke. But before he can, they make it to the tower, and Orochimaru's pissed off. But Team Dosu's gonna handle it from the shadows. Now Naruto's team the first one's there, so by the time they actually kind of make their scroll, before they make their team, not team I guess, before they make their sensei appear, so Iruka reported that here happened and thought it was pretty smart, but they get a warning for now. It was a pretty reckless tactic for exposing another gaming team like that. Naruto took the warning, and Iruka had left. Iruka could not help but admit that was a pretty smart tactic. But while every team's in their room, Team Dosu tries to break into Sasuke's room. But Naruto actually sensed the chopper coming in, and would peek out, putting a small Genjutsu into them, which swaps the rooms. By the time they break in, they see Naruto's room, which has confused them all. Suddenly, a kunai is driven right through Dosu's heart, as Dosu's dead. Before Zaku and Kine can make a noise, the executioner's blade is drawn onto right to Zaku's neck, and Kine has a senbone pointed right at her throat. Before Kine can even just say what's happening to Dudor, her throat's slit, and Zaku's cut clean in half. Naruto doesn't like killing, but these guys deserved it. Obviously, they're trying to cheat. They're trying to cheat in their own way. So the executioner's blade is put away, and he drags the bodies out somewhere else. He does so. All hidden leaf teams basically saw Naruto drag out 3 corpses from the area. Neji immediately didn't know what happened, and Naruto said these guys tried to break into Sasuke's room, so he killed them. Immediately shocked that Naruto was willing to kill someone for his own team, and it's able to tell that Sasuke doesn't like Naruto, but he's still willing to kill for Sasuke. So it's just very shocking to them. So yeah. Now with this, we can just go on to what was it? Oh, fuck. I lost my train of thought. I'll figure out. Okay, pause. So, where was I? Oh yeah, so everyone was shocked that Naruto would kill for someone who obviously doesn't like him. So it's not Sasuke doesn't like Naruto, it's just that he feels inferior to Naruto, which makes him very distant. Well, he is inferior to Naruto, which does make him very distant to Naruto, but they'd be decent allies if Sasuke didn't have an inferiority complex. So yeah. Now with this, we'll kind of go on to just the preliminaries. Well, Team Dosu's dead, all of them. And Team Gaara isn't there, so there's no preliminaries. So too many people are gone. So yeah, that actually does push back the coup because, well, Kankuro is still questioning who thwarted his puppet. And Gaara, through realization, did have to realize that, well, one, he was beaten up for the first time and, well, it was a one-sided fight. He was surprised. Then Tamari basically said that Naruto punched through the sand like it was nothing, and it hit Gaara right in the face, full force, shattering his sand armor. So, yeah. It was very shocking. Which even shocked Orochimaru when he heard that, well, Gaara's team isn't gonna be able to participate, and that Team Dosu was all killed mysteriously by someone who doesn't know. Like, no one knows who killed them. So yeah, this led to Danzo helping Orochimaru and his team infiltrate the hidden leaf Anbu, but only as root. But with this, well, Kakashi's a bit stronger than canon, so well, Kakashi does still fight Kabuto on one occasion. Kabuto's losing horribly. I put Kakashi like Kazekage Retrieval arc Kakashi. So he's pretty powerful, it's just he hasn't unlocked him on Gekyo. It's just his Sharingan abilities are more powerful to him having to teach someone how to use a Sharingan properly for a lot longer. So yeah. But this leaves a little bit of extra time for Naruto to train with Jiraiya. He's so much Jiraiya under the same conditions. Not much has changed through this. Up until Naruto having to use summoning jutsu. Well, Naruto, nonetheless, had learned how to use overwhelming amounts of chakra pretty easily. And, well, Jiraiya didn't need to teach Naruto a lot of the excess stuff that Ebisu was. So, when Naruto does immediately summon, like, Konohamaru after, just 1 or 2 hours of trying, once he comes to summon, he has to do the whole, sit on my back for 24 hours. He does just that. Not stand on my back for 24 hours. He does that pretty effortlessly. Which now leaves Naruto to, Ganbunja is now summoning, and he does that in 1 day. So now Jiraiya wants to work on Rasengan, and they do just that. By the time that the training exams start with Neji, well, Naruto's on the verge of being able to do Rasengan with 1 hand. On the verge of doing that. So he still has to use 2 hands. And Naruto's opponent is still Neji, but I'll go over the fights. So Sasuke, well, he wouldn't fight Yoroi, he wanted to fight Shino. I'm hoping these commercials don't get me copyrighted. But yeah, so Shino versus Zaku. Shino versus Sasuke. Sasuke wins. They go down. Kankuro has known to fight. Sakura versus Ino. Sakura obliterates pretty easily at that. Tenten versus Temari. So it's Tenten versus Shikamaru. Shikamaru wins. Naruto versus Kiba. Kiba's going to be replaced with Hinata. Hinata beats Kiba, but barely. Now it's Rock Lee versus Choji. Rock Lee wins. So, wait a minute. Fight. Oh, yeah, Naruto versus Neji. So Naruto versus Neji and Sasuke versus Gaara. So I guess the final fight will be Naruto versus Sasuke. I'm gonna head back to the main screen because I'm worried about where to copyright now. Alright, so Naruto versus Neji. Well, Naruto and then Neji started a Taijutsu fight. As Naruto didn't only do Rasengan training. He got Rasengan down decently fast. All he had to do was work on how to just use chakra control a bit better, which should lead to Naruto learning how to use chakra in your body. So he's actually able to keep up speed with Neji, even use a bit more techniques to outmatch Neji in power. With Neji, well, the fight lasted around a total of 15 minutes. In these 15 minutes, Naruto and Neji are beaten to a pulp. Neji even tried to use the 64 palms, but wasn't able to get them off fast enough. So eventually he does tries to do it one more time. It's only tried to do it once, but it stopped halfway through, so yeah. But he's able to hit Naruto in the ribs, as Naruto's fighting back, his ribs are broken, but they've been healing slowly. Eventually they heal after around 5 minutes. But when he realizes that Neji is using 64 palms, he can't pierce through it. He even tried kunai. The kunai sent flying back at him. Then Naruto gets a chance to use Rasengan. Naruto does up to Hiyashi and to Hyujin that medical show will need to be on the scene because the technique he's going to use may permanently damage Neji's arm, Neji's arms if medical ninja are not here fast enough. Immediately, everyone hears this, they're kind of confused. And suddenly, Hiruzen would immediately see Naruto charge him for Rasengan. Everyone knows what this is. Well, if you know what it is, you know that Neji needs medical treatment immediately before he's even hit by it. And then Neji tries to block it, but no, his arm is quickly damaged horribly. As Neji sees him falling back, he clutches his arm in pain, and Naruto's announced the winner. He picks up Neji, bringing him to the Hyuga and the medical ninja. And Yashi is shocked. He knew Minato was strong, but Rasengan broke 64 palms that easily, and it was obvious it wasn't a complete Rasengan. So how strong was Minato's Rasengan? So that leaves questions for Hiyashi. With this, Naruto is pronounced the winner, and now Sasuke versus Sasuke in the fight. Well, I guess the final fight can be Naruto versus Sasuke. But in the midst of the final fight with Naruto versus Sasuke, as they kind of keep trading blow for blow, eventually it leads up to halfway through their fight. Well, snakes break down the walls, and now we would watch as some gigantic Tanuki-looking thing rises some distance from him until Beast Bomb. Immediately, Kurama can sense the tail Beast Bomb being charged up. And before anyone knows it, Naruto's body is forcibly taken over by Kurama, and a Four-Tails cloak would come over him. Naruto would roar out in pain as his body begins burning, and Tail Beast Bomb is fired off. Suddenly, Naruto's tails shoot out, catching the Tail Beast Bomb and shooting it back at Shukaku. Not point blank, but still really fast. And Shukaku right in the face, blowing it away. Kurama would more or less give Naruto control of his body back. Sorry for that stutter, but Kurama gives Naruto control of his body back. Naruto fell over unconscious as that burned and took up a lot of energy. As Naruto falls over unconscious, well, immediately Genma would say, well, Sasuke Uchiha wins. Now run. So Sasuke will pick up Naruto, rushing away, and brings Naruto over to Jiraiya. As Jiraiya had arrived, sensing Nine Tails chakra emitting from Naruto. He arrived right as Naruto pushed back the Tail Beast Bomb. Jiraiya gets Naruto's burned body, and it's just shocked that Nine Tails defended the village that fast, then left. So that kind of gives him a weird understanding of who the Nine Tails is. But now this is the actual 4th Kage versus Hiruzen. Hiruzen obliterates pretty easily. Naruto's brought to the hospital and is able to heal pretty quickly, but he leaves the hospital for around 15 minutes. He arrives, he's able to more or less leave right as he sees a barrier be put up, and suddenly he hears a voice in his head, a very deep and demonic voice. This is the voice being the Nine Tails. Nine Tails been talking about how basically he hates Shukaku for trying to attack the village, and that was his duty. So just back at Shukaku, who wants to give Naruto control of his power up to 3 tails. Now Naruto will agree to this power, as currently in sheer power, he's on the level of around 2 tails. So he's able to use 3 tails at his will. Immediately he put his body in 2 tails, dashing right the purple barrier surrounding Hiruzen. And Jiraiya would coincidentally be crashing Rasengan into one side, as Naruto's brute strength would crash on the other side. Barrier is punched to pieces. But Hiruzen and Jiraiya both saw Naruto using 2 tails. Then the barrier is punched down. Jiraiya's kind of nervous, but Naruto explained it's actually him, which Jiraiya does believe. Hiruzen believes as well. And before Orochimaru can summon even one casket, well, it's kicked right in half, and the other 2 that are coming up are kicked in half as well. And now Hiruzen would think Naruto, as now they all three of them team up on Orochimaru, defeating him. Kabuto would try to intervene. Well, immediately Kakashi, my guy appear in front of him, and my guy kicking Kabuto in the face, and Kakashi stabbing him in the back. So with this, Kabuto falls over with the kunai in his back and dying. But Kidomaru would fire off a giant arrow at Kakashi before Kakashi can dodge. Well, my guy punches out of the way, but it's enough for Kidomaru to dash, grabbing Kabuto, and they all speed away with Drogo holding Orochimaru. This leaves the Hidden Sand on their own, and with this, the Hidden Sand's obliterated like it's nothing. Now, Temari and Kankuro tried to get Gaara to wake up, but he was asleep. He was out cold. Like, Shukaku was put out of commission the moment he appeared. So, yeah. And Naruto currently will beat Shukaku. But yeah, so with this, we kind of move on to the, just Hidden Leaf repairing themselves. Hidden Sand is in very deep debt. So yeah, and Gaara is actually kind of like not to tell Jiraiya about how he's encountered Gaara, what he's gotten from him. And Jiraiya's able to tell that Gaara is the seal's horrible in Gaara, so he repairs it, but then sends him back to the hidden sand. So Jiraiya mainly special Haku a lot more, which did help Gaara in the long run. Hiruzen kind of felt bad and wanted to resign as Hokage. And, well, he held a Hokage competition to see who should take the place as Hokage. And because Naruto has proven himself worthy over and over and over again, candidates would be Kakashi Hatake, Jiraiya the Sannin, Tsunade the Sannin, Naruto Uzumaki, and Danzo Shimura. Now, Danzo gets the least amount. Well, Naruto and Danzo get the least amount of votes. Naruto's got a pretty high amount, but still, there's a lot higher votes, being Tsunade and Naruto. Tsunade and Kakashi. They're more or less tied for votes. Now, with this, well, Kakashi's kind of shocked that Hiruzen made him a candidate without Hiruzen telling him. And now, either Kakashi has to help look for Tsunade, or he has to become Hokage. Immediately, Naruto has an idea just to give Kakashi a taste of the Hokage position. So it's to Hiruzen, and Hiruzen likes a plan. Well, Naruto and Jiraiya will go look for Tsunade, and now Kakashi has to become Hokage, and he has to train with control his healing. So yeah, just in case Tsunade gets a little too old, he'll step up to be Hokage. Kakashi is just sighs, saying, "Fine, he'll become temporary Hokage." Let's reveal that he's temporary Hokage until they find Tsunade. Like they had Jiraiya submit in one vote for Tsunade, so that kind of overwhelmed it. And now with this, they'll be looking for Tsunade. Itachi and Kisame don't attack the leaf right now because, well, there's tons of hidden sand shinobi there as well, so there's a chance that they could be interrupted. Plus, Zabuza's here with the Executioner's Blade. Naruto doesn't really trust himself to leave the hidden leaf with such a legendary item, so he left it with Zabuza. Like, yes, Kisame can beat Zabuza, but still he's a swordsman of the mist, a legendary swordsman. So Kisame's gonna be a little hesitant and say no, he's not going to attack Naruto. So more or less, they stalk Naruto and Jiraiya, and Naruto did actually have a sealing contract with Kubikiri Bocho. But Naruto, when you get to him versus Itachi and Kisame, Naruto is able to see Sentra Ninjutsu to feel who's at the door, and finds a familiar presence in one of the person's face, Sharingan. So now he's kind of nervous because the only person left that's Uchiha would be Sasuke or his brother that he wants to kill. As Naruto dashes at the door, Kisame cut it down, or smack it down. Suddenly, he realizes the Kubikiri Bocho is in Naruto's hands, which confuses him for a brief second. As he's confused, Kubikiri Bocho would stab him, not like too deeply, but still, some of it went inside his body. He jumps away, but immediately Kunai's thrown right at him, hitting him in the shoulder, and there's an explosive tag on it. It blows up, injuring Kisame in a bit of his face, as Kisame is quickly overwhelmed by that small combo. But Itachi begins stomping out Naruto like he's just like a fire on grass. Naruto's using the hands from Itachi, and eventually Kisame joins in, giving the hands as well. Naruto's able to hold out using a tailed beast cloak, and he's able to keep Samihata away from him once he realizes that it drains his chakra by kicking it through the whole building. Then when Kisame goes for it, he just slams Kisame on the ground. Eventually he's able to subdue Kisame by basically kicking him in the air, as Kisame will grab Samihata. Well, Naruto jumped up to him, suplexing him right in the pavement as hard as he can. After I heard the loud boom as he goes out to the apartment building, seeing Kisame in a suplex position, and Naruto in the one, and Naruto's the one doing the suplex. But Naruto uses up a lot of energy as he just simply passes out, and suddenly, Itachi jumped down with the kunai, going right for Naruto's head. But he was almost too late to save his own life. Suddenly, Rasengan's put right below Itachi's face. Suddenly, Itachi would disappear, painting and sweating. That was close. He was almost hit point blank with a Master Rasengan to the face. Jiraiya picks up Naruto saying that he was really strong and he's proud of him. Naruto would smile, saying, "Thank you." Suddenly, as Kisame to wake up, a kunai is shoved right through his skull by Jiraiya. Jiraiya pulls the kunai out, and Naruto ended up jumping off Jiraiya's back, picking up Samihata, saying he'll give this to Kisame, not Kisame, to Zabuza. He's able to put a sealing contract on Samihata due to Samihata feeling Naruto's power and wanting to feast on Tailed Beast chakra. Kisame cannot hide in the sword. He was killed by Jiraiya the moment he woke up. So Kisame cannot hide in the sword, which leads to Naruto to summon Samihata and Kubikiri Bocho. With this, Itachi has to fight Jiraiya and Naruto, but ultimately loses. Naruto just told Itachi came their body back on Kisame. Jiraiya helps them seal away Zabuza's, not Zabuza, seal away Kisame's body. Well, they're more or less going to study it and turn it in for a bounty. So, yeah. Should be enough money to bribe Tsunade. So they more or less take a detour, turn in the body of Kisame for money, and they even turn in a bit of money on Itachi Uchiha, not money, some info on Itachi Uchiha, what he looks like currently, and the outfit he's wearing, and where he was headed. It's not a lot of money, but still it's info. They take it, and, well, they get a big decent amount of money. A few 10 million yen. For the body of a, well, quote-unquote tailed beast, and for, well, the legendary Itachi Uchiha. Maybe a few 100 million yen. But I'd put it like at most 100 million yen. So a few $100,000. Now with this, they will actually bribe out, like, make Tsunade come out of hiding by actually bribing her. Then with this, well, they talk about the Hokage thing. Tsunade just says no, but Naruto will make the bet with her, saying, "All right, if I beat you, then you have to become Hokage." Tsunade agrees with. Pause real quick. So Tsunade and Naruto head outside. Tsunade would basically punch at Naruto or go for a punch just to scare him a bit. But to her horror, her Rasengan is like primed and ready. Her fist clashes with the master Rasengan. As they clash, well, Tsunade's pushing back Naruto's Rasengan. Tsunade would watch something that horrifies her. Tsuchiyo's cloak appears on Naruto. Suddenly, his Rasengan turns a bit darker, and suddenly it explodes, hurting Tsunade's arm horribly, but he wins. Tsunade begins healing her arm, but is shocked that Naruto summoned Naruto's power and used a Rasengan. Just Jiraiya, what monster did he find? And he just says the son of the fourth Hokage. We could have told you that in private, but still. They have to head back to Hidden Leaf because Tsunade is now Hokage. The Kakashi is able to learn a few lightning jutsu and, well, coincidentally, how to master Rasengan with more steps and, well, flying Raijin. So, Kakashi's a bit had memorized basically most jutsu in the scroll healing. It's just he's not going to use them all. He can memorize them all. Isn't going to use them all. So Kakashi's power is just at its peak currently. He's almost on board to levels of Kakashi. Almost, not quite there. So with this, we more or less just move on to like just Tsunade becoming Hokage. And with this, well, the body of Kisame, well first off, Samihata is revealed to Zabuza. Zabuza's like, "Oh, Kisame died? How'd you find his body?" No, Naruto reveals he was able to knock out Kisame by like basically stabbing him with Kyuhyubocho briefly, then throwing a kunai in his shoulder that exploded. Then that we can Kisame enough to the point where Naruto's able to get a good suplex in, which knocks him out. Then like Jiraiya he stabbed him right in the face with the kunai, killing him. So now Naruto would be the current wielder of Samihata and Kyuhyubocho. Yeah, Sasuke still ends up believing in Hidden Leaf because he heard that Naruto fought Itachi, and Itachi almost got hit by a Rasengan point blank to his face. He didn't get to hear who did the Rasengan. He heard Rasengan and knows that Naruto uses the move. So he thought that Naruto is too powerful for him, and in that he leaves the village with just a feeling of inferiority. And now he still goes with the Sound 4. Then he gets his curse mark, and well, Orochimaru personally came to get Sasuke. So yeah. So with this, basically, Orochimaru is able to get Sasuke out of the Hidden Leaf faster. And he kind of bit his neck, and that's about it. So Sasuke passed out, and they just ran. He just ran out of the village with Sound 4 following him. But Naruto happened to be asleep, so he didn't really sense a thing. And when he wakes up, is told that Sasuke's house is empty. And, well, something should we report the presence of a certain chakra signature. They hear about it, like, oh shit, that's scary. So yeah. With this, we kind of move on to, like, there's no Sasuke retrieval mission. It's more like Naruto wanting to join Jiraiya's spy network so he can find Sasuke. So Jiraiya agrees with this. And, they more or less leave with Naruto heading out with Jiraiya. So, yeah. This more or less ends this part here. If you guys enjoyed, like, subscribe, comment for another part. Goodbye.